Our national energy self-harm, as I've called it for years, continues to be revealed. Prices soaring, reliability plummeting, and only worse to come. You know, I've been saying this and writing this for a decade or more, and finally the rest of the country seems to be waking up. And finally, too, the coalition has realised this is the number one issue where the Labor, Greens and Teals alliance can be called out for their reckless policies that are driving up inflation and the cost of living and undermining our economic future. Forget net zero, that's a pointless slogan used by the left and the media as global emissions rise. What matters is the energy system that underpins our whole economy, our whole society, and that's in a mess and getting worse. The Energy Market Operator's latest system security report contains yet more warnings about an unstable electricity grid where costs will keep going up and blackouts are an increasing risk. The report is full of jargon but points to the need for large batteries and other machinery to provide system inertia and synchronous electricity as more coal-fired power stations are forced out. If this doesn't happen quickly enough, operational intervention may be required by the market operator up to 30% of the time at a significant cost to consumers to avoid severe consequences. And it says without synchronous condensers in the New South Wales system, there could be periods without enough synchronous power to keep the grid inertia, putting the whole system at risk. Yeah, it's a pretty worrying situation. Just ask South Australia, which went dark 9 years ago and spent a fortune then on diesel generators to protect it into the future. Or ask Spain and Portugal, where they lost the lot in a catastrophic blackout earlier this year. With New South Wales and the nation's largest coal generator, Eraring, due to close in less than 2 years, the situation is set to get a lot worse. But just like it has for years, as prices have gone up and reliability has plunged, the market operator tries to assure us that it's all under control.
You'll hear the name synchronous condensers. These are big spinning machines on the grid that really keep a stable heartbeat, and they need to be in place before the closure of major coal-fired power stations. These coal plants are just getting old. They are going to retire. If they're not withdrawn, they're going to break, and we need to be ready for that.
What this bloke deliberately leaves out is that it's government policies and market rules that are deliberately forcing coal-fired power out. They're forcing the coal generation out, but they haven't found a way to replace it. So now they spend more money to try and keep the coal going longer, and they're still in a bind. And while this mess unfolds, our Climate and Energy Minister, Chris Bowen, has been more interested in flying to Brazil and pretending that he can save the planet when he should be on the tools back home fixing the shambles created by his obsession with renewables.
We're very concerned about the energy grid's capacity because we've got massive failures from this government. We've got a part-time energy minister managing a part-time energy grid.
As we've told you in recent weeks, energy experts, the people running the electricity generators and retailers, are telling us that power prices will keep going up for at least a decade. And the Australian newspaper today unveiled a series highlighting the damage that power prices are doing across the economy.
Electricity prices went up 36% overnight.
Increasing 40% for the next 12 months.
More than doubled in the last 12 months.
It's over 100% over the last 5 years.
As I've been saying repeatedly, this stuff is only going to get worse. It has to, because of the amount of money being tipped into the system for generation, for transmission, for storage and for firming power. All that spending to be recouped with a guaranteed rate of return in perpetuity. No other country is even trying to do what Australia is trying to do with a renewables primary focus in the grid. Yet we have Labor, Greens and Teals politicians pretending it's the only way forward.
So this is an important warning, one that the government will take seriously. And if assets need to be extended, that'll be a decision for New South Wales. But importantly, AEMO also identify that the best and quickest and cheapest way to replace these exiting coal-fired power stations is with renewable energy. And that's what our plan is.
The reality is that the Albanese Labor government has created an energy disaster because it's pursuing the nonsensical goal of net zero emissions by 2050, a target that is impossible to reach, that will not be reached, and which would do nothing to improve the climate even if it was reached, because global emissions continue to rise. So net zero is a joke. And all the while, we're seeing more environmental destruction as land is cleared for renewables projects and for transmission lines. This latest controversial case in Western New South Wales is where dozens of native birds have had to be rescued. Yet still the rollout continues and the politicians cheer it on, but some are starting to wonder when the public might run out of patience. Listen to this from the New South Wales Labor Premier.
Nothing will pull community support for this energy transition quicker than reliability and costs spiking even further than it is today. And I'm acutely aware of that because we want this to work.
But isn't that what's already happened? I mean, we've had blackouts and there are more on the way, and we've been told not to use our dishwashers on hot days, and power bills have doubled. They've doubled during this so-called transition. Are consumers and voters supposed to be happy about that? Are they supposed to accept that, even though they were told prices would go down? And even though this is driving up inflation and the cost of living and undercutting our national economy? After faffing about on this stuff since Scott Morrison signed up to net zero in 2018, the coalition is finally on the right side of the argument. And as reality unfolds, the facts will back its position every day of the week.
There are two things at stake here. One is cost, which is escalating. The other is reliability. And neither of those has been properly recognised by this part-time energy minister.
Lee needs to get her state colleagues on the right track too. An energy-rich country with energy resources, the envy of the world, one of our great economic advantages, and we've deliberately destroyed it and turned ourselves into an energy basket case. What genius. The lucky country becomes the dullard country.